Is the future of televisions really the Mini LED technology? Well, we could actually say yes, because it has many advantages compared to televisions with OLED technology. One of the advantages that many people like is that they tend to generate more brightness compared to an OLED TV of the same range, although OLEDs have improved considerably in that aspect recently. Now, getting back to Mini LED TVs, I want to remind you what I've said in several previous videos. Remember that nowadays, brands can sell you a TV claiming it's a Mini LED model, even if it doesn't have full array backlight technology, or it might have it but probably not with as many LEDs as you might find in other models. For example, here in my country, the brands Hyundai and JVC offer two Mini LED models with full array backlight technology, but they don't have as many dimming zones compared to, for example, a HISENSE U7N or a TCL C6K, just to give you an example. However, those Hyundai and JVC models mentioned are not bad. They're very economical and have good performance in dark scenes and very decent amounts of brightness. On the other hand, going to the other extreme, Samsung and LG, as many already know, offered two LED televisions in 2025, and they presented them as Mini LED models. LG offered the QNED 85A in all sizes with Edge LED except the 100-inch version, which has full array. Samsung offered the QN70F and QN1EF, which are practically the same, only the design of their stands differs, but both are Edge LED models. Samsung, at least in these models mentioned, has added more LEDs to create more dimming zones, and the panel is VA in all sizes. It's not bad in dark scenes, but it's not the same as a full array TV. While LG opted for the same number of dimming zones compared to its lower end Edge LED models, and added an ADS panel in most sizes and a VA panel in some. But still, it's an Edge LED that will simply be terrible in dark scenes. And well, here I want to touch on several very important aspects. It's true, TVs are highly valued and their price increases depending on the amount of brightness they can generate. But remember, it's not all about brightness. A TV with 400 or 500 nits will show you a very good result in high dynamic range or standard dynamic range, and one with 1000 nits is even better, such as the HISENSE and TCL models mentioned before, which in some picture modes can reach values close to 700 or 1000 nits in full screen, which is not bad at all. In fact, under certain conditions, for example in a room that is not fully illuminated, the high amount of brightness they can display is somewhat annoying to my eyes, and I think to the eyes of many other people. And also, even if the brands don't tell you, and even if the televisions have heat sinks and good construction materials, obviously a very high amount of brightness will generate more heat and over time can cause more wear and tear. A lower-end entry model television could, let's say, break down at least some of its parts faster than a high-end TV, that's true. But what I always recommend, even if it's a high-end TV, is to lower the amount of brightness by 20 or 30%, or even better by half, and you'll still get very good results in terms of brightness, and the TV will definitely last longer because it will simply generate less heat. And the location also matters. If your city is very hot and humid, the television is likely to suffer and deteriorate faster. I'm also not telling you to place it under an air conditioner, because that can also damage it. You can place it in a room that has air conditioning, but place the television on a different wall. Also, avoid placing your TV on a wall that receives sunlight all day, because sometimes many people don't realize this until they arrive home at the night and never notice that the TV receives so much heat through the wall that receives direct sunlight so many hours during the day. And another point I want to mention is that a few days ago, news broke that Samsung won a lawsuit against TCL because some of its older models didn't actually have the quantum dot color technology, yet TCL still marketed them as QLED TVs. The Q stands for quantum dots. I personally think it's wrong. I mean, if there's a penalty to be imposed, then TCL should be penalized. There's no doubt about that. I'm not opposed to that. However, I also mentioned that Samsung promises more in its commercials than it actually delivers. Specifically with the QN70F, if you see that advertisement or commercial for that model, they use the phrase more LEDs, and in that scenes they show a lot of very small LEDs, leading people to believe, even though they don't mention it, that the QN70F technology is full array, but it isn't. It's HLED. So really, I repeat, I'm not saying it's okay for TCL to have said that some of its models have quantum dots, even if they don't actually have that color technology, but still sell them as QLED televisions. But what Samsung sometimes does isn't right either. Both brands should be penalized or simply stop engaging in false advertising. Even so, let's suppose that neither the HISENSE U7N nor the TCL C6K nor other Mini LED models from both brands have that quantum dot color technology. Even so, the good thing is that they do include full array backlighting technology with a large number of dimming zones to display dark scenes with very deep blacks, with also a very good level of detail and a very minimal amount of blooming or halo effect, often almost imperceptible. So, to wrap things up, the most important thing you should demand in 2026 and in future years when buying a Mini LED TV is that it has full array backlighting technology. Demand it. Ask the seller to sign a document, or for example, let you record a video of them telling you that the Mini LED TV you're going to buy does have full array backlighting technology, because if it doesn't have this technology, then you can complain and simply return or exchange that TV. I say this because remember that currently, legally, brands can tell you that their TVs are Mini LED even if they don't have full array technology. Now, regardless of whether they have the quantum dot color filter or not, in practice it doesn't really make much of a difference sometimes. Then again, remember, the most important thing is that your Mini LED TV this year has full array backlighting technology, which means it will have local dimming feature. And that's it. I don't know what you think about this. Please let us know in the comment section down below. Just a reminder that you can support my channel by purchasing a membership through my Patreon page. You can also make purchases through the links I've included in the description and pinned comment. This will greatly help me to continue creating content. Please like, share on social media and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.